Hello, I'm Dr. Heidi, creator of Vocab Victor, and I want to spend the next few weeks focusing on language studies. Specifically, this will be helpful to you if you are not taking a class, but rather if you're studying English on your own. We have the internet, which is amazing. There's a lot of great resources online, and I just want to talk a little bit about how you can use them to improve your language. I'm going to talk about 4 different language skills: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. If you're studying any language, not just English, you'll have to focus on each of these skills. You can't just practice reading, you can't just practice listening, and if you don't do those things, you won't be able to write or speak. So this week I'm going to talk about reading. I'll tell you why it's important and what you should read. So stay tuned. I want to focus on reading first because I think it's just really, really important. And probably one of the first things you're doing when you're studying a language is reading in the language. I find reading easier than speaking, and I find reading easier than listening. That might not be true for you, but I find if I can look at the word and think about it, how it's spelled, it's easier for me to remember it. So reading is extremely important, and it's especially important if your language does not have the same alphabet as English. If you are a Chinese speaker, if you are a Russian speaker, if you are an Arabic speaker, or a Persian speaker, if you speak Japanese or Korean or Hebrew or Pashto or Urdu or Hindi, it's really important for you to practice reading because you're not just learning a language, but you're also learning an alphabet. The more you read, the more fluent you will be in that alphabet, and the better your progress will be overall. So first, I'm going to talk about why you should read. You should read because it will help with your vocabulary, it will help with the language structure, and it will help you to see language patterns. You'll see patterns in how words are spelled. You'll see patterns in how words are used, and you'll see patterns in how sentences are put together. This is all the stuff you need to learn and understand in a new language. There's 2 things that are really important if you're choosing something to read. One is that I want you to pick something that you find interesting. The reason for that is that when you're reading, you shouldn't just be reading the words, but you should be reading the words and thinking about what it means. That is, the content. And if it's something that you're interested in, you'll be more motivated to understand what it is you are reading. And it will also just be more fun and enjoyable for you. The other thing I want you to do is to choose something to read that is at your reading level. Not too hard and not too easy. If you don't know a lot of the words in what you are reading, if you're reading something and you have to stop and you're looking up words all the time, it's too hard, it's too frustrating, and you won't be able to understand it. Also, you won't be able to pay attention to what you're reading. If you have to stop and look up something in the dictionary, then read, then stop and look something up, even if you're reading in your web browser and you have a dictionary tool that lets you look up the word right there, you should still find something where you don't have to look up too many words. I'm going to give you some things that you can read that are relatively easy and don't have a lot of hard words and that have some interesting content. So this is Wikipedia Simple English, and it contains a lot of the same articles in the main Wikipedia, but it's written in basic English vocabulary. It's got shorter sentences, and it's really great because there's so many interesting articles. Even if you don't know what you want to read, just go to the front page and they'll always have like some random stuff, like you can read about Tetris if you're interested. And one of the things is that they have pictures in there. So If you don't know what something means or you want to learn a little bit more about it, you just hold your mouse over it and it will show you a picture, which is really helpful. You can learn about different culture, history, whatever you're interested in. If you want to learn about different parts of the world, like different parts of the United States, you can just, put it in there and read the whole article, get information about the culture, the politics, history, anything you want. I highly recommend this website just for general reading practice. And like I said, the important thing here is that you can read about things that you're interested in. But here's a few other resources that I found, and I'll put all the links in the description below. So this is called English Language Learning, Listen and Read, eslbits.net. And this person, apparently Skip, has put together a collection of stories and then organized them by different reading levels. So here you can click on intermediate level stories and just read a glimpse into teenage life in ancient Rome. Well, there's something pretty interesting. You can read all about just these various topics, and they had some really good short stories in here that I found. And some of these do have adult content. They're not stories for children necessarily, but he puts a warning: adult content, adult language, and so forth. You can read something by Harlan Ellison. He's a pretty intense writer. Mark Twain. He was an amazing American writer. Agatha Christie, if you like mysteries. So again, the idea is that you can read things that you're interested in, so that will keep you motivated. The next site, which is esolcourses.com, and I went to the intermediate English lessons. So again, this has got some good things for you to read. So you can read about different topics. So for example, here you can read about the Reverend Martin Luther King, and I talked a little bit about him a few weeks ago when I talked about visiting Atlanta, Georgia, where you can go and visit his old neighborhood where he used to live. You can read about him. You can print these out. Oh, here's another website I found, eslfast.com. And he had a funny thing in here. It's called 365 Essays for Language Learners. So you can go in here, read all sorts of different essays. These ones are all about holidays that are celebrated in the United States. Halloween, Veterans Day, all the religious holidays that are typically celebrated. And just kind of random things about the United States, like the lotteries that we have. So if you just want something like to read something short every day, you could just go here. And you can find your own resources. I mean, I didn't use a secret formula to find these. I just used Google. I just want to give you a few more pieces of advice about reading. One, think about what you're reading. Think about what it means. Not so much to focus on the individual vocabulary words, but just to get the main idea of what the story or article is about. If you have the opportunity, I would definitely recommend that you read with a buddy, a friend, so you could both read the same story or article, and then you can talk about it. But if you're doing it by yourself, just to ask yourself questions. Ask yourself questions that start with a W, like, what was the story about? Who was in the story? Why did they do the things that they did? When did it happen? And so forth. The other thing it can be very helpful to do is to read the same story twice. If you liked it, then, in a week or so, go back and read the same thing again. It will help you build up your knowledge, and the second time you read it will be easier than the first time. You'll get more information. Also, If you looked up some of the words while you were reading it the first time, then that will be a good chance to help you remember that word. So next week I will focus on listening. Here are this week's words. Picture, a painting, drawing, or photograph of someone or something. Stuff, used to speak in a general way about something that is talked about, written about, etc. Resource, a place or thing that provides something useful. Dictionary, a reference book that contains words listed in alphabetical order and that gives information about the words' meanings, forms, pronunciations, etc. Sentence, a group of words that expresses a statement, question, command, or wish. Read, to look at and understand the meaning of letters, words, symbols, etc. Pattern, the regular and repeated way in which something happens or is done. Spell, used to indicate the letters that form a particular word. Stop, to not do something that you have been doing before, to not continue doing something. Content, the ideas, facts, or images that are in a book, article, speech, movie, etc. Culture, the beliefs, customs, arts, etc. of a particular society, group, place, or time. Topic, someone or something that people talk or write about. Subject, important, having serious meaning or worth. Speaker, someone who speaks a particular language. Choose, to decide that a particular person or thing is the one that you want. Interest, a quality that attracts your attention and makes you want to learn more about something or to be involved in something. Progress, the process of improving or developing something over a period of time. Extremely, very great in degree. Structure, the way that something is built, arranged, or organized. First, coming before all others in time, order, or importance. Well, I hope you got inspired to go to one of these websites and practice your English by reading. Some of the stories I saw looked really interesting. Do you have a favorite website for English? Share it in the comments section. Be sure to go to our course website where I'll add the links and where you can read the text. Get it? Read the text for this lesson. Download Vocab Victor to practice your vocabulary every day and come back next week for 20 more words. Thank you.